Here we go.
Do it.
Okay, cool.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Coffin Talkin', where we unravel the mysteries, embrace the peculiar, and find humor in the unconventional world of funerals and death. Hello.
Hi, Holly.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You're all smiles, so that's always good. I understand
I'm all smiles.
All smiles. I understand you've been going through a bout of sickness or not feeling well.
All smiles and the flu.
All smiles and flu. Hey, I just want you to know that I finally made it through Wicked, and I did fall asleep. And I did fall asleep in the last, I don't know, maybe 35 minutes of it. I don't know.
So did you actually finish it, or did you sleep through the last?
I slept through the last 30, but it ended.
What the heck?
I'll have to go back and
flying gravity. That's the best part.
That's what Lisa said. She said, "Well, we find out why she's wicked."
Oh my god.
Oh, good. All right, cool. All right, that's great. But it took me a week to get through the 3 hours, Ollie. It may be a little longer. I don't know. So
I really just can't understand that.
Coffiners that are going to listen to this and go, what's his problem? Why doesn't he? What's taking him so long to get through 3 hours of him? Oh boy. I guess on the upside, we own it. So I guess I can go back and watch it.
I guess that makes up for a small part of that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just got to find some time where I can just sit and watch it and binge it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Binge it. I don't think it's binging it if you just sit down and watch a movie.
It's 3 hours, Holly.
It is 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Oh, 250. 2 hours and 50 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
It makes all the difference.
Okay. Yeah. It's that extra 10 minutes that I was not looking forward to, Holly.
Yeah. That was the tough part. Oh my gosh. I don't understand how. Well, did you like it?
You know what? I'm indifferent. I did not hate it.
You're indifferent?
Yeah, I did not hate it. And I did not find it truly, fully enjoyable.
Seriously?
Yeah.
But I thought you really liked musicals.
I do like musicals.
This one's so well done.
Okay, I'll go back and watch it. If you say it's so well done.
I really think you need to watch it again.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'll watch it in hour increments then.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, maybe that will help.
20 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Come on. Stopping halfway through a song. Well, that's it for today.
Oh, well, okay.
Oh,
so I did find it interesting, the interesting dynamics between the Wicked Witch and the boy.
Fiyero?
Whatever his name is. Yeah.
The boy.
Yeah, the boy. And so I found that interesting, and I thought to myself, well, okay, so there's got to be some interaction there between the two, since he was not put under the sleepy spell.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Coffiners, if I'm messing this up for you, but trust me, you won't be missing anything by hearing my description of the
maybe that's fair
of the movie. So, yeah. Anyway, that's what I've got.
Sleepy spell.
Kind of what I gathered out of it. Anyway, Coffiners will be laughing as they're hearing this a little bit, but that's it. So I was grateful that, finally I was awakened to the credits. Okay, all right.
Watching the credits. I made it. I did it.
I did it.
Did you really?
Right. Wicked, yes. All right.
Wicked, did it.
There's one girl that I've seen it. She's listening to the music over and over and over, and she says, "Oh my gosh, it's the best! It's the best movie I've seen." And so, that's kind of what spurred me in that direction to kind of watch it. And then steered me that direction. And then you guys talking about how good it was. And I thought, okay, good, this is good. So maybe I was just tired when I was sitting there watching it. So it has been very tiring the last couple of months. So, or last couple of weeks. Yeah. It's been bad. So anyway, that's me. What about you, Holly? Did you make it through it in 2 hours and 50 minutes?
We went to the theater, so yes.
Okay. Well, maybe it's the sound.
And it was
thing.
amazing. Okay. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Oh, good.
I love Wicked.
I'm glad.
What else? What else? Did I tell you that I'm teaching Caden violin?
I know, but I had a feeling that you were since it was sent to you. How's he doing?
Yes. Yes. So he's doing really well, actually.
Good.
He's picking it up well, and he's actually really liking it, which I didn't think I don't think he would really like it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's really liking it.
I think I've seen individuals that are in high intense realms of study. Say, for instance, where he's in the law program. I think that they'd use that as an avenue of release. And I think that that's probably, I've seen doctors that, either play extremely well on the piano or cello or I guess bass, the violin, any string instruments. It's very interesting to see how they cope to it. And I think that's really just a mechanism. I think it's a mechanism for them to actually release the stress of the everyday.
Yeah. We were
activities.
Actually literally talking about this today, where he was saying he's just kind of felt off the past couple of weeks because it's been in the thick of summer internships and applying, and it's so competitive at the law school. And he, at the end, he just goes, and I haven't played violin in like a week, and I can feel it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think he really does use it as some way to channel that energy, or I don't know,
just to release.
Yeah, it's a good hobby for him to have right now.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you're doing it. How are you teaching him? Just showing him chords, or what's going on?
So we started with some scales and then building up to some simple pieces, just teaching him the basic techniques. And then we're having his parents are coming up for Caden's sister's birthday at the end of March.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to make that a point to try and have a recital almost, so he can be working towards a goal and do that. And I'm doing the same thing because I want to get back into violin, which has also been really fun. So yeah, we're just, I don't think I'm a very good teacher, but he's really good at asking questions. Okay. So as he is playing, he'll just stop and Holly, how do I do this? This sort of thing. So it's been really great.
Good. And now maybe you'll have some real competition when it comes to Guitar Hero.
I don't think so.
Well, you're teaching him those scales.
Teaching him the scales.
Those fingers are exercising.
Fingers are flying. Oh my gosh. Okay, I do have to say this too.
Yeah.
And this is disgusting, but I thought maybe the people that listen to this podcast might find it gratifying the same way I do.
Okay.
So I had an infected hangnail, and my finger probably tripled in size.
Okay.
And I was doing all the things. I was soaking it in salt water. I was slightly pressing against it to try and get the infection out. And then we went on a date night, and we were sitting at Firehouse Subs, and I was like, this is very weird because my finger, it's like the heartbeat, you can throb, you can constantly feel it, and it just hurts. Like, I've had a slight reprieve. So I looked down at my finger, there's pus all over. It exploded.
Okay, let's stop right there for how you cleaned it up. Let's stop. Okay, so I don't know if you grabbed a tissue. I don't know if you wiped it on clothing.
My gosh. I was eating a sandwich, so I had to do the best I could.
That's even worse.
I know, it's far worse. But it was so satisfying. It's like, oh my gosh, my finger healed. And I debated sending a picture to Mom, but I thought she wouldn't be able to handle that.
You should send it to me. I would have loved to have seen it.
Oh my, I have the picture. I'll send it to you.
I want to see it.
I'll send it.
Do it.
Man, yeah. So that was really exciting too.
That is very nice. See, all of your work and preparation paid off.
Exactly. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It did.
Were you able to finally pull the hangnail, or did you just leave it be?
So what happened is I infected it because whenever I get hangnails, I rip them past the point of repair.
Mm-hmm.
So I ripped it really bad, and I think I must have infected it in the process. Because it went deep.
Yeah.
It was bad. But yeah, it's healed up now. Now my fingernail slopes really far into the side of my nail. So I'm hoping that's not an issue, but I'm just ignoring it at this point.
Oh yeah, until you hit that certain chord while playing the violin. Oh, that's weird. Speaking of hangnails, when I was embalming here in the last couple of weeks, I was cleaning the nails of a gentleman that had obviously neglect because he had just stuff caked up under his nails.
Oh yeah.
And went to clean one and it popped completely off.
Oh no.
That's what I said. Oh no, I guess I better stop right here because
that hand's going to be underneath the other hand.
That's exactly right. I don't want to be messing with that.
Oh geez. Yeah. Well, it always comes full circle back to death. So I think this is a great time for us to go ahead and transition and let's be frank.
Okay. So this story came to mind as I was looking over the notes of stories that I'd actually had written down, and it jogged my memory just a little bit in the fact that it's just weird. So one particular mortuary that I in the past had been working for, they had called me in to do. It was late in the evening. They called me in to do an embalming, and so I just I've got time. I'll run over there and do that. And while I was there, no other cars were in the parking lot, and I actually opened the door, and the alarm goes off, and you disarm the alarm, and you can go in and walk around the building. And as I was doing that, I walked towards. There's a little hallway, and I walked down the hallway, closed the door behind me, and then right in front of me is their cooler. And so I went directly towards the cooler because that's obviously where the individual would be that I would have to go in to pull the individual out for the embalming to be done. As I went to reach for the cooler door handle, there was a rapid knock on the door that I had just closed. And it was an interior door. It wasn't an exterior door. It was an interior door. And I just turned around and I said, yes, because I knew no one else was there. Right.
You knew no one was there?
Yeah. Because no one else.
At this point, you're saying 100%, this is a ghost, whatever. It's that fast.
Yeah. So I just said, well, I just noticed because there was no other cars in the parking lot. So that's why I was saying, plus the alarm had turned or had sounded when I opened the exterior door. So I knew that
the alarm.
Yeah, but I didn't notice that the alarm was set for stay, not away. So obviously someone was in the building, but they were knocking like crazy on the door. And then he threw the door open and he looks at me and goes, "Did I scare you?" And it was one of the employees. It was one of the employees that worked there.
Oh,
and I said,
so you're oh, you're not a ghost.
Yeah, exactly. And I looked at him and said, "Absolutely not. Sorry." And he goes, "Darn it, just letting you know I'm leaving." So he went on ahead and we talked briefly for a few minutes. He helped me move the individual from the shelving unit onto a gurney so I could get it over to the table to embalm. And then he said, "I'll talk to you later." And I said, "Okay, see ya." So I had no sooner had put him on this individual that had passed away on the embalming table and had started to do preparation work as far as cleaning the exterior of the body, the entire portionality of the body. And there's a part where I can stand at the head of the table and I can look into the hallway, and there is again that cooler door, but it's so shiny that you can see any movement. So you can see shadows and stuff. Yeah, you can see shadows and stuff that are actually taking place. And I just looked up and I saw some movement. And I remembered looking back at the guy that was on the table, and I just shook my head thinking, he didn't leave. He's here. He's here to try and still scare me. Right?
You're looking at this guy and you're like, people, am I right? I bet you're so happy you don't have to deal with this crap anymore.
Or maybe you do. I don't know. So I just took my head and I just shook it a little bit and I just leaned down a little bit. And then I heard a noise of something dropping. And I now, as you go from that one door that was closed from the exterior door, as you walk into that door on the right hand side, there's a shelving unit. And inside that shelving unit, they keep all their plastics. Now, when I say plastics, usually when an individual has a lot of decomposition, or if they've been a total bone donor, a tissue or skin donor, they put them in plastics. In other words, it's a union all of plastic. It's like putting on a complete clothing of underwear that's plastic, just to keep inside that plastic any leaking that may be taking place. So I thought, okay, now he's really trying my nerves, only because now something has dropped to the floor, and it sounded like this plastic container.
Okay.
And I said, okay, yeah, really funny. And that's what I was saying. Yeah, I know you're still here. So yeah, very funny. And I made the incision on the clavicle, and
you just keep working. You're like,
yeah, I did. I was just keeping working. I just thought to myself, well, he's going to make another appearance and try and scare me again, and that's okay. But I could see the movement still happening along that refrigerator door. So I
question here: if the movement is on the refrigerator door, wouldn't it be in the same room as you that the movement would be taking place?
No.
It's because remember out in the hallway.
Yeah, because remember I came down the hallway and I'm facing their cooler. So and then I have to turn.
The movement's in the hallway.
In the hallway, and then so I have to turn left to go into the prep room, and so there's that bend. So I don't see anybody there, but I can see reflections on the refrigerator door. And so you got that clear right now? Sorry.
Yeah, and is that the same hallway? Is that the same hallway that your coworker just tried to scare you out of?
The first one.
Out of?
Yes. That first door when he opened it up, and that's why I was thinking it was still him. And so I went on ahead and made that incision, and I had just raised the carotid artery, and I looked down, and I had dropped an instrument onto the floor. So I bent over to pick it up, and in the corner of my eye, I just happened to look up, and there was another piece of plastic that had fallen from the shelf. Only this time, it hadn't fallen from the shelving unit. It was actually slid across the floor towards the door of the refrigerator. So now I'm kind of, and now I'm freaking, not necessarily overboard, but I am thinking to myself, what's he trying to do? Is he now cleaning the shelving unit?
Yeah.
He just said he was going to go. Here it was around 8 p.m. in the evening. And why would you still be here if you're the one that told me you were going home? So I just went and I just put my instruments on the table and I walked to the hallway, and as I'm walking to the hallway, I can still see movement in the reflection of the refrigerator door. Uh-huh. So I turned the corner and said, yeah, very funny. Well, what was funny is that no one was in the hallway. Mm-hmm. And so I saw the two pieces of plastic, or the containers of plastic, on the floor. And I immediately just bent over, picked up the plastic, put them back up on the shelf, and didn't really think much about it. But as I'm walking back towards the refrigerator door, I'm looking at the reflection, and there is definitely like a shimmer, like a tree. You would notice a tree in midday, and you'd look at a shadow, and it would be fluttering back and forth,
like the leaves swaying in the wind.
Yes, okay. Correct. Mm-hmm. And so I thought to myself, well, what am I looking at now? And so I just rounded the corner, and I just leaned up against the wall, and I just kind of watched the movement on the door.
Mm-hmm,
and the reflection on the door. And I kept looking around the corner, no one in that hallway. And so I would step back into the hallway, and I would see my own reflection, and still the reflection of something else. So I just said, at the same time. Ooh. But I was the only one standing in the hallway. Right. So I walked back to the prep table, and I just thought, well, that's interesting. I wonder if they know that. I wonder if they know they have a ghost. That's what that's what I was thinking when I walked back to the table. And so I'm
another haunted funeral home. Go figure.
And so I'm just thinking about as I'm sitting there embalming this individual at this point, I couldn't help but still look at that refrigerator reflection and see what was taking place, if I could still see movement or not. So what I did is, the movement was still happening, but about halfway through the embalming process, I just thought, well, I'm going to try something different. I'm just going to turn off the light in the hallway. So I walked over.
The hallway light was on.
Yeah. So I turned off the hallway light, walked back to the prep room, and was still in the embalming mode, pretty close to finishing. And I could see not necessarily what I was seeing before when the light was on, but I could definitely still sense movement. And then what happened? What do you think happened, Holly?
The plastic.
No, the light turned on.
Oh.
And I said, oh.
They don't like the dark. Oh.
Some, I guess, don't. Holly, I guess they don't. So I walked back around the corner because I didn't hear that door open back up for someone to put their hand around it, because it was a heavy door and you would have to be able to hear someone open it up.
In order to turn the lights on.
Correct. Because it was, you know how you sometimes will open a door and you know the room is dark and you start putting your hand on the wall to just kind of feel for the light switch. Yeah. That's what I thought was happening, but the light turned back on. And so I hurried and ran over there, looked around the corner, and no one was there. So I decided I turned off the machine and I walked down the hallway, opened the door.
What machine?
And the embalming machine. Sorry.
Oh,
so I was still embalming. So there's a machine that's called a Portaboy, Duotronic, whatever the machine is that embalmers are using. This happened to be a Portaboy, which is an odd and sorryful name, but but it was a Portaboy machine, and so I just clicked it off so that no other embalming was happening while I was away from the table, because that, you know, when you're not there and you're not monitoring things, swelling can take place. And
sure.
Other items can happen. So I just walked down the hallway and I opened the door and I just said, hello, anyone here? And the entire building is dark at this point. So I'm going through the building and I'm turning on the lights. So nothing. There's no one there. I checked outside. This guy that had initially scared me or tried to, his vehicle, I know what he drives, and I still didn't see it. There was nothing in the parking lot. And so I just thought, well, that's weird. Checked all the doors, made sure that everything was locked. And then I walked back to that doorway to get down to the hall, into the hallway to go back into the prep room. And I opened the door, and not just one or two, but every single plastic thing had been had been deshelved and on the floor.
What the heck?
Every single one of them. And there were 15
God.
that were now on the floor. And I'm thinking, is this a message for me? Is this something I should be looking and taking note of? Is there something that's happening here that allows, that you're wanting me to know? Right. And so I started putting things back up onto the shelf, and without getting into too much of the layout of this particular building, but I could turn left at the end of that hallway and go into the prep room, or I could turn right and go into another storage area of this facility. So as I'm putting these plastic containers plastic bags back up into their shelving unit, I hear a knock on the opposite side of the wall that I'm on. And and now it's not to the right, not to the left, but now it's just one of these little. Can you see if you can hear this?
Just this.
Yeah. And it's a knock. That's a definite knock on the wall.
Oh.
And if you can walk into anyone's house and you can tap on the wall, you can hear that.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking to myself, okay, so now if someone's physically knocking on the other side of the wall, and so do I dare just take a look around the right-hand corner of that wall?
Oh my gosh, because it was right around
where
you were.
It was right in front of me. If there was no wall there, I would have seen whoever was there.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's like if someone was in a physical state, I would have been able to see them because the wall would no longer be there, but the tapping noise would still be taking place, and I would be able to see. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I were to look right through the wall, that's where the tap was coming from.
Okay.
So I finished putting the 15 plastic bags up into the shelf, and I just thought, well, I'm just going to take a look around, because it was happening the whole time I was putting these units back up into the shelving units. And so I decided, okay, I'm just going to look around the corner. So I looked around the corner, and there in this particular room, they had all these cremated remains that they had actually in storage. Oh. And so I was thinking to myself, so is someone in storage in here that shouldn't be, or that needs to go? And I was just casually looking at some of the names that were there, and everything was locked. And all of the containers, all the urns were closed. They're plastic urns, except for one. And it was not open all the way, but it was open. And so I just went on and clicked it down, thinking that, okay, maybe that's what they wanted. And so I clicked it down and didn't think much more about it. Went back to the embalming, finished the embalming, which took me about another 35 to 40 minutes. And as I finished the embalming, it gets noisy at the end because there's one particular motion that has to be done during the embalming process. It's called aspirating. And so it does get a little noisy. And so I went on ahead and was doing that and finished, sewed him up, was getting ready to transfer him back into the cooler. And I walked down the hallway to the cooler, opened it up, and lo and behold, I had this rack that I could put the guy on. I pulled the rack out. I put the guy on the rack, moved him back towards the cooler, and I looked to my right down that hallway again, and all 15 bags were on the floor again.
Oh my gosh.
All 15. And I'm looking and I'm thinking to myself, what in the world is going on here? And why are the bags still on the ground? Because I had just spent 15, maybe 10 minutes putting them back up into a shelf it looked orderly. Yeah. So I just thought, okay, I'm just going to put him back in the cooler, put this guy in the cooler. And I put him in the cooler and closed the door, walked over to where the bags were on the floor to go ahead and be placing them back up into the shelves once again. And again, as I'm doing that, the tapping noise begins.
On the other side of the wall?
On the other side of the wall. And so it's the same process. It's the same thing happening over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So I went on ahead and finished placing placing these bags back up in the shelving units. And then before I left, because I did leave shortly thereafter, I went back around the corner, and that urn, or the cremated remains that I had just recently snapped closed, was open once again.
Oh, geez.
So I just said, okay, so if you want these open, I don't know what you want. So I just opened it completely. And I just left the lid completely open as opposed to trying to close it again. And I said, hopefully that's what you want. And so as I went and I just turned the light off behind me, walked around, was getting ready to exit through that interior door to go to the outside through the left. So I opened the door, and there is we've talked about him before, but there's a shadow person there right there on the wall.
Oh my gosh.
I know. That's what I said. I said, oh, you're the one. Okay.
It's you, Bob.
It's you, Bob. Did you follow me, Western BB? And so I just really cautiously just walked into the hallway, and I closed the door behind me, and I said, are you staying or are you leaving? And I walked to the exterior door. I armed the alarm, and I opened the door, and I looked at him, and I said, I guess you're staying. And then I closed the door and left.
Ooh.
So, Holly, what do you think of that one? And hold it. There's a little bit more of the caveat on this story that when the readers look at the hard copy, that I did actually have a conversation with the owner about 2 days later when he had called me back to do another embalming. I said, hey, do you know that you're haunted? And he goes, no, I've heard stories, but no, I don't believe that. I said, well, what's the history of the building? And so read the story for the history.
Is the history weird?
It is kind of weird. Yeah. Oh, there were, okay, in a nutshell, there were 2 murders that took place. It was a private residence. Yeah, it was a private residence. And there were 2 murders that took place in that residence prior to him purchasing it and remodeling it as a funeral home. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So who knows what is actually transpiring there in that building at this particular moment, or what kind of message might be being sent. But it's interesting either way. So anyway, so I was going through my notes, and I thought, oh my gosh, I got to tell this story.
Yeah. What the heck? My bet is that was one of the ghosts of one of the people that was murdered, and they were murdered by a plastic bag going over their heads, suffocating them. That's what I think.
Oh, see, I thought that maybe they were trying to get into the plastic attire so that when they did commit the murder, there wouldn't be any fingerprints.
No, maybe it's one of the murderers. Oh, geez. It's bad news bears either way.
Either way. Yeah. So.
Okay. So for our listeners that maybe haven't heard the Western Bob story, which
It's called They're There.
Yeah. Yes. So our They're There episode is where we first talk about shadow people. Am I just confusing something here, or are shadow people, do they put you the most on edge?
For me?
Yeah, for you personally.
I think it's most surprising. I mean, I expect them to be there, but I don't expect to see them. And so when I do, and this one didn't move. I mean, sometimes they're like a fleeting moment where you can actually focus on a second and then they're gone.
Yeah.
But this one did not move.
And so this is like where like you're seeing the whole outline of a person. It's just black on a wall, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like it should be someone's shadow.
That's correct. But this one didn't. You couldn't see appendages. It was like an elongated blob. But I know that I've been there. I had been in that building enough times to know that was not normal.
Nothing could be casting that
where
shadow.
Where he was at, that was not normal. So yeah, it did take me by surprise when I opened the door, and you know me, I just, so it's you. Okay.
Oh, hi.
Hope you're okay.
Are you leaving?
Is everything
Can I
okay?
hold the door open for you? Looks like you have a hard time grabbing this.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that he would go, but it just stayed right there. He, she, it, whatever. Why would I want it to go? Because I didn't want anyone else to feel in fear that worked there.
Okay, so it wasn't for the benefit of that person, that spirit that was there. It was for the workers there.
Yeah.
And they had to be cleaning up all the time. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that was a one-time occurrence or a two-time occurrence in this case, or if it's happened before. I don't know. He didn't go into detail on that, but he was one of these owners that was there only when he absolutely had to be.
Oh, okay.
He was very seldom there unless...
Yeah, by the house that people were murdered in. It's cheaper.
Yeah, and that's, well...
That's kind of the vibe.
It's all there. Yeah.
So with this, do you think that he turned the lights back on? So if you went back into the hallway, you would have seen him?
If he hadn't turned the lights on?
Well, if he hadn't turned the lights on, you probably wouldn't have seen him, right? Because it was dark.
No. Yeah, but I'm telling you, the entire time, something was in that hallway because of the reflection on the refrigerator door.
So he was moving. He just wasn't when you were seeing him.
Right. And I couldn't see him in the lit hallway because I would look at the hallway, nothing there, look back at the reflection on the refrigerator, and there was definitely movement.
Oh, so you couldn't see him until the very end. When you saw him, was it dark?
The hallway was dark. Yeah.
Oh.
Because I was just getting ready to turn the hallway light on when I looked at the wall and I go, oh, it's you.
Oh, that explains it.
I think my reaction may have been a little bit more dramatic than, oh, it's you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's you. Wow. Do you realize I have to walk by you to get out? Could you move?
Can you move, please? Jeez. Some of us are trying to make a living here.
Oh, my gosh.
That reminds me of, do you remember, I don't know if you'll remember this, Scott will, that SpongeBob episode where at the very end, they're like, if you weren't flickering the lights on and off, who was? And it pans over to this corner and the door opens and it's the vampire and they all just look at him and say, Nosferatu.
Which I'll bet a lot of kids look at that and thinking, who's Nosferatu?
I know, what?
But now there's a new movie out on him. Probably won't be as good as the original, but you know.
I will tell you what. Okay, I cannot speak for anyone's experience with this movie because I haven't seen it. But me and my coworkers are talking about this movie on Friday.
Nosferatu?
And yes, Nosferatu, the new one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I had just said, yeah, it looks pretty cool. I kind of want to go see it. And my coworker that had seen it, he was like, Holly, don't. Just don't go see it.
Wow.
100% I would not recommend it. Just because it was like so icky, creepy.
Huh.
Yeah. So I can't speak for it. I can't speak for your experience with the movie. Don't come after me. Don't come after us for Wicked.
Well, it's gone full circle.
It's come full circle.
Oh, that was Nosferatu wicked? Well, the director said he wanted to put a spin on it that was unlike any other horror movie that had been developed. So,
oh, really?
Maybe he did. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I don't even know, but
I think I'd like to go see it. But
because
the first one was so good, it scarred him.
Yeah,
has he seen the original?
Scarred me. I don't think so, and I like the original, just the silent one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's like the first horror movie ever.
Yeah, he's they did great work with lighting on that thing. It was wonderful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
well. So anyways,
any other questions on that one, Holly?
I don't know. Did you ever hear from the owner if they went back and were the plastic bags on the floor when they got in the next day?
So I did not ever talk to him about that again. It was only the one time after that experience that I actually saw him.
Oh,
and
okay.
So I could have talked to the other employees and kind of see what was happening with them. And I don't know. No one ever said anything. No one ever volunteered any information. And it could have just been a one-time thing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Do you think that spirits are like drawn to you?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Are you sure? Because we have a whole podcast about it.
Oh, sorry. Oh, people are leaving in droves, Holly. No, I think that there's a difference between being drawn to you and just being aware. Because I think that there are sometimes people that will just walk by something that's a total, you should be noticing that.
Yeah.
And they just walk by and they just think it's normal. And so I don't think that they're drawn to me. I think I'm a little more, because of maybe my past and a little bit of what I have experienced, that I'm a little more alert to what might be happening around me, but nothing more than that. I don't think so. I could get really crazy if oh my gosh, they're being drawn to me. But it doesn't always happen. So why doesn't it always happen?
Yeah.
See, that's the question I have sometimes. So anyway, yeah.
Anyway, that's that one. Okay. Yeah. Western Bob's Return.
I told you there were two other stories. This is one of the two.
Yeah, this is one of the two. So we still have one more.
One more to go.
Okay. Yep. Well, stay tuned. Thanks for joining us today, Coffners.
Thanks, Coffners. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know.